Hey YouTube, this is Daddy-O's Reviews, back with watch review and commentary number 2. What you see in front of you is my 36mm solid gold day date, model number 118238, which I think basically became available in the early 2000s and ran all the way till 2018. When it was replaced with a new model number. The new one has a new movement and a new bracelet. But this particular model, 118238, it was notably different from the prior generation because the center links in the bracelet were now solid gold rather than some part of it being hollow. It also, after a couple of years into this model run, 118238, it got a new clasp. And so what you see here is the solid gold milled clasp as a way to open and close the bracelet. It has, let's see if I can quote the number. I think it's a 3155 movement. Now, if that's incorrect, then I'll correct it in my video editing. But that is basically the day and date movement. It's an automatic watch, which means you don't need to wind it, don't need to pull the crown out and wind it each day. And that was really when the day date first came out in the 1950s. Those were huge things on a watch. As I mentioned, this is 36 millimeters. I think on my wrist it looks very good. It's my wrist is 7¼ inches. But I think with all the gold, and especially the beautiful bracelet that this particular watch has, you don't need a huge watch face to really make it look right on your wrist. And in fact, this size watch, the 36mm day date with the presidential bracelet, has pretty much stayed almost identical from the time that it first came out and up to date. Rolex came out with a 41mm, and then they reduced the size back down to a 40mm Rolex day date. That was called the day date 2, and then now the day date 40 is the 40mm version. But I actually like this one better for me. I dress in, French cuff shirts. I dress up for work almost every day, and having a slightly less in-your-face solid gold watch, if there is such a thing, is a good thing. I mean, if I were to wear a really large solid gold watch, I think that may be making too much of a statement, whereas this one can fly under the radar just enough if I need it to. I really, really enjoy this watch, and I think part of it is the memories that I have from when I decided to buy it, the point in my life where I was. I think part of it is the statement that watches like this make. I mean, they're kind of known as being the, you'll watch other YouTube videos, they call it the captains of industry, or people who have done extremely well in business. Those are the people that buy this watch because it's expensive and because it makes a statement. I like it for all those same reasons, and I think that's why people buy these. This particular, generation of Rolex day date, I said it was a 3155 movement that has a 48-hour power reserve. The brand new one that they just came out with here in 2019 has a new movement, and that has a 70 or 72-hour power reserve, I forget which. At any rate, if I set this watch down on Friday evening and don't pick it up until Monday, it will have stopped. And the new one, the idea is that's not the case. It'll still be running. In my case, I tend to wear this watch at least once over the weekend, and that keeps it running. It has been extremely accurate during my ownership of this watch. I think Rolex tries to keep it +2, -2 seconds per day, and this particular watch runs well within that spec. I don't check it day to day. I pretty much only check the time about once a month to make sure that it's still the right minute, and sometimes I need to either slow it down or speed it up by 30, 45 seconds up to a minute, and it's good for the next month. I have on this watch the silver dial, and I like the silver dial against the gold watch. I think that tends to stand out nicely. It has the luminous batons on the dial and luminous hands. I'll try not to get the reflection there. There you go. You can start to see the luminous hands. And this really lights up quite well in a dark room. It actually surprised me how well this lights up and the luminosity that's available. Let's see what else. In addition to the things that I've referenced already, one of the things that changed in this generation watch from the prior generation, which was the 18238, is the background color on the day window and the date window. A lot of those other watches on the silver dials, they have almost a gold or a champagne color behind the lettering, which is a little bit harder to read, in my opinion, and I like the white. It's partly what drew me to this watch. So I think that's kind of basically everything I know about it. I will say this one's about 12 years old. Very, in my opinion, limited amounts of play, and in the Rolex presidential bracelet world, they call that stretch. So it has a limited amount of stretch for its age. I wear this, I don't wear it every day of every week, but I do wear it a lot. I would say I probably wear this watch more than I don't when I'm getting dressed for work, or church, or one of those kinds of events. This is the go-to watch. This is the one that I put on if I'm looking for something that is a little less flashy. I do have other watches. I have other Rolex watches, which you'll see in other videos. But I really enjoy this watch. It's very comfortable. It fits me well, I think. And just as you're seeing in my French cuff shirt here, it looks good, but it also looks good with a short sleeve shirt. It looks good, when the sleeves are rolled up. It looks good in a t-shirt. You really, in my opinion, you can't go wrong with this watch. It's such an iconic watch. And if you have it already, do a Google search on the Rolex Day-Date President and read up on the history. It's really an interesting perspective. And when you think about what people in this world have done wearing watches like this, it's kind of cool. I like that. If you have questions, let me know. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks.